Listen, not to me, to your floor. If you can hear a click 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 every time your dog crosses the kitchen tiles, that sound is not a quirk of the house. That sound is a countdown. And here's the part almost no owner realizes. Your dog is standing on those nails right now, and every single step is pushing them backward into the nail bed, twisting the toes, shifting weight where it doesn't belong. And your dog will never once tell you it hurts. They'll just get a little slower, a little more hesitant on the wooden floor, a little more reluctant about the stairs, and you'll put it down to age. Now, I know exactly why you've been putting it off, because I hear it every week in my clinic. You tried once. There was a yelp, there was blood, there was a dog who now vanishes the second the clippers come out of the drawer. So you gave up, and you've been paying someone else to do it, or quietly hoping the problem goes away. Hi everyone, I'm Leo Bennett, your neighborhood dog guy, and today, I'm going to fix that for you permanently. 5 things to get right, and if you follow them, this becomes a calm, boring, 30-second job that your dog genuinely doesn't mind. And I'm saving the best for last, because number 5 is the technique professional trainers use. It's the one thing that turns a fearful dog into a cooperative one, and almost nobody tries it because it looks too slow to work. Hit subscribe and let's start with why this matters far more than you think. Because if you believe this is about scratched floors and snag jumpers, you're missing the whole story. Here's the thing about how dogs are built. Dogs are digitigrade, which means they walk on their toes, not flat-footed like us. The paw pads are the shock absorbers, and in a properly maintained foot, the nails barely touch the ground at all on a flat surface. Now picture what happens when they get long. Every time that nail hits the tile, the ground pushes back, driving pressure up through the nail bed and into the toe joint. The toes splay outward. The dog shifts their weight backward to take the pressure off. And here's the detail I want you to sit with, because a veterinary rehab specialist put it perfectly. To a dog's nervous system, a long nail hitting flat ground feels like standing on a hill. So the body compensates, permanently, loading the back legs, straining the wrists and elbows, and traveling all the way up into the spine. And that's before we get to the mechanical stuff. Splayed toes mean less grip, which means slipping on hardwood, which means torn nails, and even broken toes when a long nail snags on carpet or decking. Now, in the interest of being honest with you the way I always am, I'll say this. A recent study looking at gait measurements in healthy dogs before and after a routine trim didn't find measurable changes, and the researchers noted the posture theory hasn't been formally validated. So I'm not going to tell you the science is airtight on the biomechanics. What isn't in any doubt is the rest of it. Ingrown nails curling into the pad, torn nails, infections, and dogs who are visibly happier on their feet afterward. So here's your rule, and write this one down. If you can hear the click on a hard floor, they're overdue. For most dogs, a check every 3 to 4 weeks keeps you permanently ahead of it. And if your dog is suddenly licking or chewing at a paw or limping, look at the nails first, then call your vet. Now, before you touch a single nail, let's talk about the thing that's actually gone wrong, because it isn't your dog's temperament. Let me tell you what almost certainly happened the first time. You waited until the nails were far too long. You picked a moment when the dog was awake and busy. You held a paw firmly. Your dog pulled, you held tighter, and somewhere in that struggle you cut into the quick. That's the pink core inside the nail where the blood vessels and nerves live, and cutting it hurts and it bleeds. And here's the cruel mathematics of dog behavior. One bad experience, one moment of pain, paired with the sight of those clippers, and your dog has learned something permanent in a single trial. That's not stubbornness. That's associative learning, working exactly as it's designed to. And now every time you reach for the drawer, your dog isn't being difficult. They're reacting to a memory. There's a second thing that happened too, and it's the reason so many people find the nails impossible to shorten. The quick grows with the nail. Leave a nail long for months and the blood supply extends right down toward the tip, which means there is no safe place left to cut. So owners either take too little to matter, or they take too much and cause exactly the pain that started the whole problem. The correct way out of this is genuinely simple, though it requires patience. You cannot fix an overgrown nail in one session. You take a tiny sliver off the very tip, every 1 to 2 weeks, and the quick gradually recedes back up the nail as it heals, giving you more room each time. Small, frequent, and boring beats one heroic session every time. And a real caution here, please don't let anyone talk you into just getting it all done under restraint. Forcing a frightened dog through a trim doesn't cost you one bad afternoon, it costs you the next 10 trims and it can push a scared dog into biting. If your dog is genuinely panicked by the clippers, that's a conversation with your vet about a fear-free approach, not a wrestling match. Now let's set you up properly, because half of this is won before you pick up a tool. Start with what you cut with, and you have 3 real options. Scissor-style clippers, the plier-shaped kind, give you the most control for medium and large dogs. Guillotine clippers work well on smaller nails, but need to be genuinely sharp. And whichever you choose, sharp is not optional. A dull blade doesn't slice the nail. It crushes and splits it, and that's uncomfortable enough to teach your dog to hate this all over again. Then there's the third option, a rotary grinder, which files the nail down rather than cutting it. Grinders give you far more control and make it much harder to hit the quick, which is why nervous owners often love them. The trade-off is honest. They buzz and vibrate, some dogs hate that, and it takes longer. Even if you grind, keep clippers on hand for the spots a grinder can't reach. And now the single most important item in this entire video, and it isn't a clipper. Styptic powder. Write it down. Any pet supply shop sells it, and if you don't have it, plain cornstarch or flour from your kitchen does the same job. Put a little dish of it within arm's reach before you start, because the fear of blood is what stops most people from ever trying, and having the answer sitting right there erases that fear. If you do nick the quick, don't panic, it isn't an emergency. Press a pinch of the powder firmly against the tip for a few seconds, and the bleeding stops, usually within a couple of minutes. Then give a treat, take a break, and cut further from the quick next time. Set the room up too. Good light, because you're about to make a decision about exactly where to cut, and you can't make it in the dark. A non-slip surface. No chaos, no other dogs barging in. And pick your moment. A sleepy, post-meal, contented dog, never one mid-zoomies. And on clear nails, look for the pink quick, and take only the tip beyond it. On black nails, where you can't see anything, take tiny slivers and watch the cut face. When a small dark dot appears in the center, you've reached the start of the quick and you stop. And now the one I promised you, the technique that changes everything, and it looks so slow that almost nobody does it. It's called desensitization and counterconditioning, and it's exactly what veterinary behaviorists use. The principle is beautifully simple. You are not trying to get the nails cut. You are trying to change how your dog feels about the whole procedure, and you do that by pairing every tiny step with something wonderful, long before any cutting happens. So here is the correct way. Day 1, you don't touch the clippers. You touch a paw for 1 second and immediately feed a fantastic treat. Cheese, chicken, whatever they'd sell you out for. Repeat a few times, then stop. Day 2, hold the paw a little longer, treat. Then separate the toes, treat. Then bring out the clippers, just show them, treat, put them away. Then touch the clippers to a nail without cutting, treat. Then squeeze the clippers near the nail so they hear the click, treat. Only when your dog sees the clippers and looks pleased rather than worried do you actually cut 1 nail, then treat heavily and stop. 1 nail a day, then 2, then a paw, and here's the mindset shift that makes it work. You are not behind schedule. Every single session where your dog stays relaxed is a deposit, and the goal is a dog who trots over when the clippers come out because clippers mean chicken. 2 weeks of this beats 2 years of wrestling. The cautions are simple. Keep every session short, end before your dog wants to stop rather than after, and learn their tells. A paw pulling hard, a lip lick, a head turn, a whale eye showing the whites, a body going stiff. That's the moment you finish on a good note, not the moment you push through. And when you're done, release cleanly. No fuss, no long goodbye. So the lesson is that the trim ends and freedom returns instantly. So let's gather it all up. Listen for the click and check every 3 to 4 weeks. Understand that fear came from 1 painful cut, not a difficult dog. Take tiny slivers frequently so the quick recedes instead of trying to fix it in one go. Set up properly with sharp tools, good light, a sleepy dog, and that dish of styptic powder within reach. And build the association first with treats, 1 nail at a time, ending every session while it's still going well. One important word, if a nail is already curling into the pad, if there's swelling, discharge, limping, or your dog cries when you touch the foot, that's a vet visit, not a home trim, because an ingrown nail needs proper cleaning and sometimes antibiotics. And if you've been avoiding this for years, please don't feel 1 ounce of guilt. You stopped because it hurt your dog and you didn't want to hurt them again, which is exactly the instinct of a good owner, you just didn't have the technique. The fact that you sat through a whole masterclass about toenails to spare your dog a pain they'd never show you tells me they picked exactly the right person. So tonight, go and listen to your floor, and then tell me in the comments, do you hear the click, and are your dog's nails clear or black? Because the black nail crowd deserves extra credit. Hit that like button so this reaches more dog owners, subscribe for the next deep dive, and take good care of them, and take good care of yourself. I'll see you next time.